Okay, I'm starting this podcast and why it matters. Because of the spiritual battle that I endured. Hi, my name is Donna, BKA, better known as D Lovely. I'm doing this podcast because it needs to be done. Not just for me, it's for humanity. It's something very wrong with the system / government. My son's story and my story will show you that. The way I was treated about my child's death is heartbreaking. Not only that he lost his life, it was the treatment that I received after his death. They treated me like if I didn't matter. When you go along on this journey with me, you will hear what was said and what was done pertaining to the reports after all done and said. It has to change. I needed some time to heal mentally, emotionally, and physically. And the main one is spiritually. So now where will we go from here? It's about making things better. I will not let my son's death go in vain. I do have a forgiving heart. I do love the world. Nothing of the world. Humanity's souls are at stake. I would like to start with a prayer. Ephesians 6:12. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, not against human beings, but against invisible spiritual forces of evil. It identifies the enemy as rulers, authorities, cosmic powers of darkness, and spiritual wickedness in high places, emphasizing the need for spiritual, not physical. I've been silent for too long. Now it's time for me to speak, to be heard. I'm going to start with the police report. What was said. Okay. It says on 3/16/23, approximately 0602 hours. Well, I'm not going to say the people names, but it say an officer was dispatched to the Woodstock Job Corps at 10800 Old Court Road in reference to an unconscious subject overdose investigation that had been upgraded to priority 4 subject. The location is a live-in vocational school for late teens and young adults. The descendant Zachariah Metz Wiggins had recently been enrolled there and was assigned to room 355. Upon arrival, the officer with firefighters from Engine 18 and Medic 49 in front of room 355, they advised that the Zachariah Metz Wiggins had been pronounced deceased at 0620 hours by Dr. DeWitt from Northwest Hospital via telephone. FD then cleared the scene. Then checked inside Zachariah's room. Zachariah was laying on his back on the ground with a white sheet placed over his body. Officers checked around Zachariah's room but did not observe any form of contraband within plain view. Okay, these are the people that I guess, spoke, and I'm not going to say their names. Okay, it says 3:15:23 at approximately 23:30 hours, he saw Zechariah in his room, from room 355, during his normal nightly checks. At approximately 0200 hours, he and a person conducted another round of checks and discovered Zechariah in his room, 345, with the two occupants assigned that room to that room. A person there, a staff member, told Zechariah that he wasn't allowed to be there and that he had to go back to his own room. Zechariah complied and went back to his room. This was the last time the staff member saw Zechariah conscious. So, okay, at approximately 0530 hours, the staff decided to do his morning checks a little earlier than he normally does, and entered Zechariah's room to wake him, and his roommate woke up and then attempted to wake Zechariah, but he wasn't responsive. The staff shook Zechariah's shoulders. However, he still did not get any response. The staff began to realize that something was wrong with Zechariah and rolled him over in his bed. Jesus, okay. As he rolled Zechariah over, foam and blood began to pour out of Zechariah's mouth. The staff then yelled to help from the other staff and told them to call 911. The staff lifted Zechariah out of the bed, laid him on the ground, and began performing CPR. Staff stayed with Zechariah until the fire department arrived. The staff advised that he never saw Zechariah take any kind of medication or illegal substances prior to him finding Zechariah unconscious. The officer, who is also an overnight RA at the location, she advised that at approximately 0200 hours, she saw Zechariah in room 345 with the two occupants assigned to that room. She, along with the staff, told him that he needed to return to his room for the evening. Zechariah complied, and that was the last time she saw Zechariah conscious. At approximately 0530 hours, she heard the staff yelling for help and went to Zechariah's room to see what was wrong. She saw foam and blood coming from Zechariah's mouth and began to assist the staff with providing medical aid. Staff advised that she initially took out Narcan to administer it to Zechariah, but waited until the fire department arrived due to the fluid emitting from Zechariah. Staff also advised that they used an AED to revive Zechariah, but it is unknown on what time they begin to use it and how many cycles they administrated to Zechariah. Neither RA knew of any medical issues that Zechariah may have been suffering from and did not know of him to take any kind of medications. The officer then went to room 345 where he met with, I guess is one of the students Both stated that Zechariah was in their room at approximately 0200 hours conversing about rap music and hanging out. The RAs came around and Zechariah was told to go back to his room. Zechariah walked out of their room, and that was the last time they saw him conscious. Both advised that they never saw Zechariah take any form of illegal substance and that they only know of him using marijuana in the past. They also advised that they do not know of any kind of narcotics being used by any other students living at that location. Officers then interviewed Zechariah's roommate. The student advised that he last saw Zechariah conscious sometime between 000 and 0200 hours. He stated that they were both in their room talking as they normally do at night, and then Johnson fell asleep. The student fell asleep. Sorry for saying his name. At approximately 0530 hours, he was woken up by the staff as normal, and there saw that Zechariah was unresponsive and attempted to wake him. The staff assisted in lifting Zechariah out his bed and onto the floor. The staff was then told to exit the room by staff. The student was told to exit the room by the staff. The supervisor responded at the scene and was advised of the incident. Homicide Crime Lab and the medical examiner were then notified of the incident. One of the detectives from homicide responded at scene and conducted further investigation. He advised the officer to complete a sudden death report for the incident. All interviews conducted by the detective were captured on on the officer. Crime lab tech responded and processed the scene. They responded and recovered Zechariah Zechariah's father, Wayne Metz, was contacted by one of the location's senior directors. Zechariah passing via telephone due to Metz residing in Florida. Zechariah's closest next of kin is his sister. What about his mother? This is what I'm saying. Why did not I was included in this? And so that's why I have a problem with it. His sister, Destiny Wiggins, who resides in Virginia at the time. It should be noted that this was the second call for service at that location, as they say. in the early morning hours of 3/16/23, approximately 0320 hours. The subject in that call was unconscious and had abnormal breathing. The subject was transported to a hospital. So it's a lot of questions that I have, and so do my family, about the autopsy pictures. It's a whole lot of questions that I would like for y'all to comment. So we can see that, do we think it's a cover up? Because again, he was there to do something different, and somebody decided for him not to do anything, and I want to know why.